Moving to France sometimes feels like a page right out of a fairy tale, right? But right now, it feels more like we're climbing Mount Everest with way too much baggage. The overwhelm is real. So I'm going to take you with me on a little break with my dog, take a little walk, and we'll come back and talk about the overwhelm and what's going on.
Are we deeply into planning a move to France? Yes, we are. Are we trying to declutter our entire house and get rid of almost everything? Yeah. Am I trying to jumpstart my business to take with me? Yes. Yes, I am. Am I feeling completely overwhelmed? Absolutely. We're going to talk about trying to get things done while battling paralyzing overwhelm. Instead of sitting at home feeling overwhelmed and paralyzed by all the things I need to do, I decided just to ignore it for an hour and go for a walk with my husband and the dog. She likes to sniff all the stilt grass. You coming? We're slow walking today.
With some water?
One of my favorite ways to combat overwhelm is to watch this silly little dog and take walks, especially now that the weather is actually acting like fall. She did a little gallop.
Welcome back inside. So I'm going to show you views of all of the different things we're trying to juggle. Not all, but a few of the different things we're trying to juggle as we're planning and downsizing and trying to get everything ready so that we can apply for visas and go. First, let's talk about the decluttering process. When you have lived a certain amount of years in a place and you thought that place was probably going to be your forever home, you accumulate a lot of stuff. I've been decluttering a lot of things in a lot of different places throughout the house. First, let's start with my art studio. Believe it or not, this little video I'm showing you is half of my art studio and art supplies and everything. Probably 2/3 are already gone. So this mess is what's left. And not only do I have to try to declutter and get rid of all the stuff, but I have one last show this month that I'm preparing for, so I can't get rid of all my paint. Halloween is my very last art show in the US. Also, I've been working on commissions at the same time as I'm trying to declutter the art studio, so I can't just pack away those things that I'm using for the commissions. There's still a lot that could be packed though, and a lot that could be gotten rid of. I just feel like I haven't had the time to continue with that while working on commissions and other things. I don't know if I've said so on this channel, but I also have had a reselling business for the last many years. I developed inventory through thrift stores and vintage stores, etc., of mostly vintage and like new clothing and shoes and accessories like handbags and stuff like that. I started doing that back when I went back to grad school in my 40s, and I started doing that as kind of a back project to keep me going while I was in grad school, and it really turned out well. And then I just kept going with it to sideline and help support my primary business of being an artist and selling my art. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to physically sell art at local festivals and stuff like that and sell enough to make a living. So that was my back job. And I've been trying to keep up doing that this whole time we're trying to declutter. And I realized it's just another thing that's stopping me from launching my real business, my business that I'm taking with me, and also that's stopping me from being able to clear out that room and get it painted. So I, this past weekend, made the decision to sell my entire inventory in one lot for pretty cheap, for less than what I initially ever paid for it, that's for sure. But I needed it gone. And it was a huge load off of my shoulders when it sold within an hour. And it is now out of my house and gone. And it's sold to another woman who's just beginning her reselling journey. So I think that's really cool. But that's half a room gone. This is what's left of my inventory. I had a reselling business on the side where I had clothing, shoes, and accessories that I sold to supplement my art business. All those boxes are gone. I just sold off all my inventory in one fell swoop. All of my shoes and handbags. And all I have left is to sell off the board games and all of these tripods. One of them's a boom mic. The rest are just regular tripods. I think I'm going to sell them as a set and just get them gone. Notice these walls. We thought this was going to be our forever home, so we painted it in pretty grays and burgundies, and we never repainted the ceilings that the former owners, I'll tip it up, children had put their handprints in paint on. So virtually every room in this house needs to be repainted to a neutral color. About 1,100 square feet of our house, the front half of our house, is these old oak floors that have never been refinished, to my knowledge, even by the previous owners, and that we are going to need to either refinish ourselves or have refinished before we list the house for sale. This is the book section that we still have yet to go through, even though we've been paring down. This is our board game cabinet. The underside and the top side are all completely full of board games that we have yet to sort through and get rid of. This is our DVD cabinet that we are currently going through to get rid of and make sure we have digital copies of stuff. And there are 2 more boxes underneath that. This was the CD cabinet. We still have tchotchkes to get rid of, and there are puzzles down below. And my husband is slowly sorting through and deciding which CDs to get rid of and which to keep. So all of that combined is just overwhelming. The giant bookshelf that we still have yet to go through, even though we've taken at least 2 boxes of books to the little libraries already. It's becoming overwhelming. Adding to that, we have the DIY and prep work that we have to do on the house before we can list it for sale. There's a back deck off the back of the house that is rotten and needs to be torn down. It's very large. And then we need to grade the land under it away from the house. I have to tear apart my raised garden beds that my husband built for me and till that back into the land to smooth out the yard as well. And I have to still plant the plantings around our front walk. And as well, we have other landscaping stuff that we both are trying to get done, and clearing and etc. And that's just the outside. Inside, we have to redo our oak flooring, which covers half of the house. The older part of the house at the front of the house is all oak flooring. And I don't think, since they built the house in 1972, I don't think it's ever been refinished. So we're going to have to refinish those floors. And then we're going to have to pull up and put down some decent carpet in my studio, which has the carpet in there was old and gross when we moved in. So it's got paint on it and stuff. So I want to pull that up and lay new carpet in there. And then every wall in this house needs to be painted back to a neutral color. Because as much as I love all the different greens we have in the house and the gray and burgundy rooms that we have in the house, other people probably will not. So we have been advised to go back to painting every wall in the house, and that's another thing that's causing the overwhelm. I have to declutter and get rid of stuff before I can paint the walls. Add to all that the fact that I have just sold my reselling business. My art commissions make a little bit of money, but not enough to survive on. So let's add business building to that. I have a new creative coaching community where I'm gathering women who are 45 and over to learn how to journal their way into creativity by sketching and by writing, as well as just reopening their creative juices that they might have suppressed in the past in order to be responsible or practical or take care of everyone but themselves. I'm trying to build that community as well as build a coaching business beyond that community, to help women who maybe are feeling a little more stuck and need a little more individual help to move into the second act of their lives. So all of those things combined are causing a lot of overwhelm. And when I get overwhelmed, my brain wants to just shut down, wants to stop. Then along comes the inner critic. You know, that little voice inside, the gaslighter. I don't need other people to try to gaslight me. I do it to myself. That voice tells me I'm disorganized. I can't manage my time. I'll never succeed. Sometimes it whispers that my dream of moving to France is just a pipe dream and is never going to happen. That inner critic is not very nice. And I need to remember it's not really me. I'm sure you've heard the inner critic yourselves. Okay, so how do we reframe this? How do I turn it around so that I don't just go into analysis paralysis and just stop entirely? And then my inner voice will start telling me I'm lazy. So the first thing is to do small steps every day. Stop looking at the overwhelming big picture, and I need to remember to focus on one step at a time. For example, cleaning off one shelf of DVDs in the afternoon when my husband gets off work and we can talk about it together. Think about which room I want to empty first so that the walls can be painted and the floors can be refinished. And even within that room, small steps. Maybe just clear one wall for repainting, or maybe just concentrate on the ceiling. Maybe just continue decluttering that one room until it's empty, one thing at a time. It's almost empty. I think that will start with my inventory room, as I've cleared more than half of it out already. Breaking a big problem down into smaller bites always can help, because at least you know you're making progress. I'm seeing my way through this and making progress to finally be able to get to France. And I really need to stop beating myself up for what's not done and start celebrating what has been done. I need to celebrate the fact that all of that inventory is out from under me now. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to worry about listing things anymore, except for the things we're trying to sell, like on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. But I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. So I can celebrate that. So celebrate not just what's left to do, but what's done. Another thing that I do, and I'm teaching and helping other women to do, is to journal through the overwhelm. I want to be able to get that voice out of my head and down onto paper. Because sometimes when you do something like that creatively, even if you're doing a little stick figure and have a voice that's yelling things at them, little thought bubbles at them, you're getting it down on paper and you're seeing it for what it really is. And that's just, it's not you. Plus, you're opening that creative part of your brain. There are neural pathways that you can actually change in your brain when you begin to get creative and you begin to think about things creatively. So creative sketching, creative writing, or a combination of both help me to open up those creative pathways and to completely change my neural network in order to be creative in other parts of my life. How can I creatively empty my studio while still doing commissions? How can I creatively think about what I can do next with a room? What are some of the ideas I can come up with to maybe speed up the process of emptying one room at a time or one shelf at a time? And also, I really want community and connection. That helps me a lot with my overwhelm. That's why I'm sharing this journey with you on YouTube. I like the accountability that I have for myself because I'm telling you what I'm doing, so I need to be accountable to get that thing done. I like the accountability of making sure that I do at least 2 videos a week, one on Wednesday, one on Saturday for now. I might raise it to 3 videos a week when I get out from under some of the overwhelm, but for now, that accountability keeps me going. I also like the encouragement I get. I love coming into the comments and seeing people talking about their own journeys or encouraging me in mine or telling me they like my channel and they're interested in what I have to say. And I also like connecting with people who live in the place I want to go, as well as people who are thinking about it from here. So all of those things help me to regroup, reconnect, and get out of my ADHD-addled, overwhelmed brain See, I can't even talk. So that leads to the big picture. When overwhelm takes over, I realize and remember and remind myself that all of these little steps are leading us to be able to move to France. There's an end game. The chaos is temporary. There will be a different kind of chaos once we've moved. The goal, though, is permanent. And if I can just keep showing up, even imperfectly, I've been told by lots of people, lots of coaches, that I need to take imperfect action. I don't have to be perfect. I can do things and be messy and still get my point across and still be able to get through it. Step by step, we'll get there. So if you've ever had to declutter a lifetime of stuff, DIY your house, and start a business all at the same time, please tell me I'm not alone. Drop a comment below and let me know what big project in your life has left you feeling overwhelmed and how you kept it going. And please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel about decluttering, dreaming, and departing for France, and let me know. I hope you have a great day. I hope to see you soon. Bye.